Okay, so we have started this course with the basic MOSFETs. After using the simple MOSFET, we designed the single stage amplifier, and using the two single stage, we designed the differential amplifier. Then in differential amplifier, we saw using the step load and using the MOSFET as a load, what will be the differences. And then we went for the different types of loading. That loading was your this current mirror gives you the idea that it can be used as a biasing as well as a load in the differential amplifier. So combining the chapter 3 of combining the chapter of seeing this your differential amplifier with a current mirror, we designed a differential amplifier, and then the frequency compensation, and then we went for the feedback in order to make the circuit more precise in response. Now combining all these previous things, now we will design an operational amplifier. So operational amplifier. So what is operational amplifier? Operational amplifier, basically in the short form, it is denoted as op amp. Okay, it is denoted by op amp. The word op amp. Op amp means operational and amplifier because it is a amplifier. So operational amplifier, it is the basic general purpose building block. So it is a general purpose building block, and op amp has a op amp with a vastly different level of complexity as to realize the functions ranging from DC bias generation to high speed amplification or filtering. So what does this statement says, that it can be used in a multiple ways, like for biasing or for filtering, or lot of applications are there for the op amps. And based on the design complexity, we choose which operational amplifier will be suitable for which type of applications. So since it is a general purpose block and it is widely used in every each circuit, so it's not only precise operation, but also to make it work at the low supply is also very important, because since it is a basic element of designing any circuit, the repetition of its block, and that to working in the high supply voltage, may require a large voltage supply, and which can increase your static power consumption. So in order to reduce the power and make it a long, if it is operating on any portable device, to make it a long run, we need to work it at low supply voltage. So the open continues to pose a challenge with the supply voltage, and also the transistor channel length scale down with each generation of CMOS technology. Now with the year of generation, according to the Moore's law, whenever we are downscaling the technology, in parallel to that, to compensate all the dimensions, we scale down the supply also. Okay, but supply and the technology is called scaling are not proportional. So if there is a high supply and very small channel length, then that can create a trouble. So with each technology scaling, in order to accommodate large number of devices on a single chip, we also need to take care about the supply voltage. Okay. So what are the op amps? This op amp performance parameters. The first op amp performance parameter is your gain. Okay, so gain, gain, you all know what is the gain. Gain is the ratio of V out by V in. So in the feedback chapter, we have seen one is closed loop gain, another is open loop gain. So first, the requirement of the open loop gain should be very high. Okay, so what will be the advantage if I am getting open loop gain as a very high in any amplifier? The product of A beta. if the open loop gain is very high, then the product of A beta will be very high. The product of A beta very high means what will happen to the overall. Where is the PPT where it went? So black screen. 1 minute. Wait a minute. Okay. Presenting. Okay. So the what will happen if my open loop gain is very high? Open loop gain is very high. So what will happen to product of A beta? A beta will be very high, due to which my overall gain will be, closed loop gain will be proportional to 1 by beta. Okay. So maybe sometimes what happened, the beta is very less. So if my gain is very high, the open loop gain is very high, then only my A beta will be greater than, very greater than 1. So for in order to achieve this performance parameter where my the gain should be independent of device variation, like we are changing technology to this technology. Like somebody will say that I am using some X technology, somebody will say I am using Y technology, but the design is same, then also there will be performance variation. Why it can be possible? Because maybe the A beta, the value of A beta is not the same. Like that my gain should be almost identical. So this can be achieved only when my open loop gain is very high. Sometimes the small signal bandwidth. Okay, the small signal bandwidth is what? Bandwidth means which decide the till what range my gain will be almost constant. So a small signal bandwidth which gives the idea of what will be the unity gain frequency of the circuit. Okay, unity gain frequency means where the gain becomes unity. If you recall your Bode plot, you will see your the graph like this. So this is called your unity gain frequency Fu, because since it is a 0 dB line, here the gain will be 1. So this is the small signal bandwidth means the whenever we will calculate the small signal bandwidth means we are taking the idea of what will be the unity gain frequency, because we know the gain bandwidth product is constant. So from this we get the idea of that how much the bandwidth is required. Then these two are very familiar topics to you, that gain and bandwidth, which we have done so many times in the previous chapters. Now the comes the new characteristic you will see, that is your large signal behavior. Large signal behavior is basically to deal with the large transient signals. Now here what does this means? Transient signals. Transient signals means your time domain signals. For example, your step input, the step signal, and the magnitude of the step signal can be in terms of volts. When we are calculating bandwidth, when we are calculating gain, we are giving inputs in a range of millivolts, and that is being amplified. But when we are doing with the large signal, so when we are dealing with the large signal like a step input, then that time also we need to take care. In that time we need to take care how the response is there. Okay, so what does this large signal will represent? This large signal behavior will represent how my circuit reacts to the instantaneous change in the input. Okay, if suppose my input is slowly rising, then output can easily track the input. But suppose if my input suddenly changes, like I am speaking to you, there is a voice modulation of different amplitudes. Okay, and that is if I am speaking very fast, then a very fast modulation is being taking place. So that time my circuit should quickly capture my voice. Okay, suppose I am telling in a in a very smooth manner, and then amplification is going on, you are all able to hear. But if I am speaking very fast, and if my amplifier is not able to track my this switching speed, then you cannot hear my all the information which I want to share. So that time this means I want a very fast op amp, very high speed op amp, which can quickly sense what is my input wherever the changes is happening. So that things all studies is done through the transient signal. So large signal behavior will give you the idea of slew rate. Slew rate means it is denote the how the fast op amp is. So many times we will study this is that this is a low gain structure but a very high speed op amp. Somebody say this is a simple op amp with a very high gain. So based on the requirements we choose the type of op amps. Then the fourth characteristic comes the output swing. So what is output swing? All of you know output swing, the range of signal to which the range of output which is a your beneficial to use. So large voltage swing, so what is the thing is large voltage swing to accommodate a wide range of signal amplitude. Okay, like for example a microphone sensing orchestra music. Okay, suppose you have designed some amplifier, and that is sensing amplitude up to 2 volt. But what happens if some music concert is going on, if some music concert where the speed of volume is, suppose the volume is very high you made. So that time if my output is not to the level that should satisfy the volume level, then we cannot hear all the sounds. Like for example the microphone is sensing the small signal amplitude as well as it is sensing also the high amplitude signals. So microphone has to sense a wide range of amplitude of signals. This means the amplifier in the microphone which is used, like for example operational amplifier using the microphone to sense the amplitude, should sense all types of amplitude. This means the output swing should have a wide range so that it can accommodate all type of signal. So output swing is also very important when we design an amplifier. Then comes linearity. So how linearity will be improved? So linearity is directly related to the gain. Linearity means if suppose my gain a beta is very very high, so what will happen, my closed loop gain will be almost 1 by beta. So this becomes independent of this non-linear factor which is a, because in a the open loop gain is only the function of device parameters like gm, and gm is proportional to v minus vth or something, sometimes the square root form with respect to id, sometimes with respect to WL in the square form. So different characteristic can come, not a linear characteristic. But if my gain is independent of this all these factors, the open loop gain, it is only upon beta factor. And if I design a beta factor with resistive elements, only RLC components, then I can achieve the linear characteristics because RLC is your linear component. So a better linearity can be achieved if only when my open loop gain is very high. So linearity, to achieve linearity we need open loop gain to be very high. Then comes the next characteristic is your noise and offset. So noise and offset is basically it determines the minimum signal level that can be processed with reasonable quality. Okay, so if suppose some circuit is noise, here noise it basically means two types of noises are there. One is thermal noise and one is flicker noise. Thermal noise is your when temperature changes there is a this due to the electron collision there is a noise created. And offset voltage is also due to the extra carrier, some offset is generated. So basically in op amp, if we are dealing with the very small amplitude signal and that amplitude small amplitude is comparable to the thermal noise, the amplitude of thermal noise, then the op amp cannot differentiate that which is my information and which is my noise. So we that time we need to make the op amp a noise immune. So that means we have a restriction of the minimum input signal. Okay, that we cannot decrease, we cannot give the op amp the input signal to that an amplitude so that it can collide with the information can collide with the noise. So basically the when we calculate the noise analysis, we actually calculate what is the minimum level. Below this we cannot go because below this only the noise amplification will happen, information will be mixed up. Then the next characteristic is your supply rejection. We also need to make your op-amp a supply rejection. That is your PS, a power supply rejection ratio, the parameter. So it is required in a mixed signal system where there are noisy digital lines. Okay, so suppose in your mixed signal IC, mixed signal means where digital and analog both are combined. For example, your ADC converter or DAC converter, analog to digital or digital to analog converter, both are using your analog as well as digital component. So when we are using analog, suppose we are giving some 5 volt. When we are using digital, we have to work with some families like TTL or CMOS, some logic families, and they have their own supply voltage requirement. Like somebody can run at 3 volts, some is 1.8 volt. So there is a mixed supplies. Okay, so due to different supplies, so maybe there can be a chance of noise. Okay, because supply we have to do a DC level, like if 5 volt is there, we will not again generate 1.8 volt. From DC 5 volt we will reduce to 1.8 volt and we will use. So there is a DC level shift in the voltage signal. So when we are changing the amplitude of the supply, then there can be a chance of the noise. So we need to make our circuit immune to power supply, this noisy supply rejection ratio. So these are the basic four parameters. First we need a high gain, second we need a high bandwidth. Okay, and changing bandwidth will change my gain because gain bandwidth product is almost constant. Then we need to calculate the large signal behavior, which will give you the information about the slew rate, how fast or how speed the op amp is. Then the next characteristic is your output sync. If we have a large output sync, then we can accommodate large variation of signals. Okay, so for the output sync, basically the complementary outputs are preferred, where we get complementary output. So most of the time you must have seen a simple op amp with a single output, and many op amps you will see double output. So double output one and both outputs are complement to each other. So what happens if we are taking single output? So we are measuring with respect to 0, we are getting some x range. But if there is a complementary output, then we are getting 2x range. So basically when there is a requirement of wide swing, we go for complementary output based op amp. Okay, like we have seen a differential amplifier with a resistive load, it has two outputs, so double the output swing was there, two times of output swing. But when we are dealing with a differential amplifier with current mirror, there was a single output. So with respect to 0 only, there was a swing. So whenever we need high swing, we go for complementary type of output. Then was your linearity. Linearity is a function of gain. The better the linearity, the better the mapping of input to output will be there. Then we have to make a noise immune and the supply rejection immune. So this was your basic performance parameters of your op amp. Now we will go for the simple one stage op amp. So now what is one stage op amp? Op amp is nothing but your differential amplifier. As we said, that differential amplifier is the core of any circuit. Okay, so this is your single stage amplifier, we can say single stage op amp. So this is your differential stage V in 1 and V in 2, and these two are the loads, and these are two, sorry, these two are the this in place of resistive load I have used a current source load. So this is your current source load, and output CL is there. So this is your differential amplifier with a differential output. Okay, complementary output. Now the bottom one is your differential amplifier with the current mirror load. So what it is doing, whatever signal is coming here, it is coming here, and the signal generated by M2 is coming down, and the difference I get here. So this is a single ended output. So when I compare these two, when I will compare these two, so what I will see, that same gain is there. The bandwidth is function of CL. So if I maintain CL with respect to this one, we will also get almost the same bandwidth I will get also here. Okay, and a little bit change will be there in the gain, but almost the same. However, when we will do the stability analysis, we will get different stability for both. This circuit with a differential complementary output, it will be more stable compared to this one, and also the speed. The basic reason is that if you see this architecture, the output V out one is a function of M1, M3, and the CL across this one. Okay, so time constant is only a function of the resistance in of M3 and M1. Okay, similarly at V out 2. But when I go to the differential amplifier with a current mirror load, it has a two paths through in the output section to create a pole. One section is through M2 and another is through M1, M3, and M4. Okay, it has to cross three transistors. So this is the slow path and this is the fast path. And also due to current mirror, there is a pole generation. Uh, we have seen in the frequency chapter that due to there will be a mirror pole and the output pole, so due to which the stability is more the when the stability point of view will compare, this will be though this will be stable because the poles will lie in the left half plane, but compared to the current mirror load, the differential amplifier with a current source load will be more stable. Okay, okay, so so that was the stage. So now coming to the application part, so this was your differential amplifier, this was your single stage op amp, and this single stage op amp is converted in unity gain amplifier, or you can say a voltage buffer. Okay, so what is voltage buffer? Voltage buffer is which follows the input voltage. So previously also we have covered this example, where we have done in the current mirror chapter, we have covered this example. We have seen that in order to protect the transistors going in the triode region, there is some restriction in the inputs, in the input range. So we have calculated that to protect M1 from going into triode, we need Vin to be satisfy this relation, and to protect M4 going into triode, we have to follow this relation. So based on this, we predicted what will be the input range, and we have seen this was the output curve. The ideally requirement is this one, but due to the limited range of Vin, due to the restriction of Vin range, restriction of Vin means what? V out and Vin are same here. Okay, if the input resistance is very high, so V out and Vin is same. So the range of input is nothing but the range of output. So we have got a limited range where the linearity can be seen. So in this example, we have calculated how much will be the range of the input signal. The same example is there with some parameters given. Suppose if VTH is 0.3 volt and the overdrive voltage is 0.1 volt, then calculate the input common mode range. What will be the input common mode range? Okay, and what will be the closed loop output impedance? Input common mode range means, input common mode means what will be the input common to both the transistors. So whatever input is here, what that should appear here, this, and that time we can say that V out is equal to V in, because it is a voltage follower. The input common mode range will give you how much voltage tracking can be done. So when I calculate V in maximum will be VDD, VDD, and this one, and this sum of this plus this. So this is given by 0.9 volt, and V in minimum will be this part and this part. So this is your VGS and this is your overdrive voltage. So VGS and overdrive voltage, substitute the value. So you will get here VDD is 1 volt, VGS 3. What is VGS 3? VGS 3 is nothing but VGS 3 is nothing but what? Sorry, VSG3, because this is PMOS. So VSG3 is nothing but V overdrive plus VTH. Okay. So and plus VTH, so you will get zero point 0.9 volt, and the bottom minimum is 0.5 volt. So what is the common mode range? So subtraction of these two will give you zero point 0.9 minus 0.5 is 0.4 volt. This means here for 1 volt supply, if this is my input axis and this is my V out, so input is from 0 to, let's say I am sweeping till 1 volt. Here 1 volt is there. So common mode range is 0.4 volt. So So 0.5. So from 0.5 to 0.9. So 0.9. So let's say this is 0.5. This is 0.9, and this is the requirement of my curve. So output somewhat there will be some distraction and this. Okay. So this will be my the copying range. Okay, just like previous example, if you see in the previous slide, you see the output is tracking to the particular level. So let's say this is your 0.5 volt and this is somewhat your 0.9 volt. Okay, so the input common range will decide. This means if this is voltage followed doesn't mean that whatever input I will give it will copy the output. It will depend upon how the supply is given, how much the supply is given, and in what configuration my amplifier is designed. Okay, this connection doesn't mean whatever we in everything will be copied. So whenever you will do the simulation, you will see that output is not always equal to V in, but output is equal to some part of V in. So that is the reason why it is not copying every point of the input signal. Okay, so this was your single stage op amp. Now coming to the op amp with a higher gain. Suppose somebody says no, single stage op amp gain is very less, as it is calculated. It is nothing but how the gain previously also we have known. uh, the gain is given by, first of all, in order to calculate the gain, the very easy way is, uh, first of all, you closed sorry we have to calculate the closed loop output impedance. So what is the output impedance in the absence of feedback? It is nothing but the ratio of ro4 parallel to, you can say here, the if this is the node, the output resistance is parallel combination of the upper part up to V out to the lower, that is ron parallel to rop. Now since output is connected to the input, how it is connected, see the output here V out is connected through M2, and the input signal V in is there, it is getting in connection with V in. This means this M2 is playing role in creating a feedback network. Okay, and then question comes, which type of feedback? So output, if we see, if we recall the feedback chapter, the input M2 is directly shorted without, this is your shunt configuration. So shunt configuration means what type of feedback I am giving? The voltage feedback I am taking. I am taking voltage from here, and the input, whatever it is generated, the voltage drop here is nothing but V out. This V out is coming to the, suppose this is a voltage series connection, or we can say voltage voltage amplifier. The output resistance decreased by the 1 plus A beta. So output resistance ROP parallel to R1 decreased by 1 plus A beta. So here 1 plus A beta means what? Gain. This is GM1 and this is A. This is nothing but A. And then what about beta here then? So beta is ratio of what? V out by VF by, we know the beta is the ratio of the output to the whatever the input is it is giving. So here what we see here, V out and V in closely equal to each other. So I can say here beta is nothing but the ratio of here V out by V in, which is almost equal. So here beta is almost equals to 1 here. Okay. There's something came about joined. Very late joining you all are doing. So here what we see here, beta is almost equal to 1. So I will say here 1 plus A beta is nothing but 1 plus A, and since A is greater than 1, so directly it is written that output resistance decreased by the gain. And we see what is the output resistance. The effective output resistance is given by 1 by GM ratio. Okay, so this way we predict that what will be the effective output resistance and what will be the common mode range. So for this amplifier, voltage amplifier, if you see, this is the range where to which the output voltage will be copied, and this will be the output impedance, effective output impedance of the amplifier. Now since the single stage amplifier gain is limited, so in some application we requires a very high gain. Like suppose my input signal is of microvolts and we need a high gain, so we will go for our traditional approach. So what is the traditional approach? Increase, boost the impedance. So boosting the impedance means what? Because my gain is function of GM into R out, so what I will do, I will increase the R out. Now increasing R out means Best way is I will go for the cascade stage. So here if you see, this is the cascading done, and here this is the cascading done to the bottom section as well to the upper section. So again there will be two variations, one will be the differential output, another with the current mirror load. So this is a single ended output, this is your double end. Now again if I compare, I will get high gain in both the cases. Here good swing will be there because the overdrive voltage of these two current source load will be less, but here limited swing will be there because of presence of this current mirror. Already we have seen in the current mirror, when we do cascading we get high gain, but the swing get reduced. And if I am not wrong, the swing was somewhat 2 VOB plus VTH. 2 VO, the swing was your 2 VOB plus VTH to reduce this overdrive voltage. So that thing you can use here, and you can reduce the overdrive voltage, and then we can come out with the op amp with a single ended output and a high gain, with that a high swing. Okay. Now again what I will do, I will configure this cascade as a unity gain voltage amplifier. So again the same thing here that previously with we have done. Now this op amp is again like this, plus input I have given here, minus I have taken to the output, and V out is there. So I have done this connection. So but when I do this connection, the observations comes out that it is not a good buffer compared to single stage. Not good for with respect to single stage. Why? The reason is, if we solve for V out, we'll get first expression in this form. Okay. The second expression when we'll fall from the Vx, the Vx will be your Vx is nothing of VDS, that will be equals to a V out minus VTH2. So when we'll substitute here, we'll get a range of VTH. Okay, Vx will place here. So we'll get a range of V out less than equal to, here V out greater than equal to. So let me write here, V out will be less than equal to Vx plus VTH2. Oh, it is same. So in other way we will write. Okay. So in other way, if you want to write the book, it was there. I'll write your second expression. So wait, let me erase this point. Erase. So first relation you will get this one, and the second relation you will get draw. V out will be greater than equals to VV minus VTH4. Okay, and then Vx will be equals to Vb minus VGS4. Okay, so go through the loop, you will get these equations, and from there we have calculated the Vc max minus Vc minimum, which is coming equal to this value. So what does this represent? If you see the swing, as I said that if you calculate input common mode range ICMR, input common mode range, or you calculate V swing, it will be the same because of unity gain configuration. So you are getting this relation. So this relation means Vc swing is nothing but VTH2 minus VOB4. So how much maximum tracking I can do? So it, so maximum swing can be achieved when my VOB is, when if my put VOB of 4 equals to 0, then I can achieve V swing up to VTH2 only. Okay, this means my swing is restricted up to threshold voltage of the MOSFET, but VOB cannot be 0, it will be at least some positive value. This means my swing can range below VTH. So if I use cascade configuration as a voltage follower, then this will not be good. So let me calculate the input common mode range for this amplifier with what we have done in this stage. For a single stage we have calculated input common mode. With the same value we will calculate, the same value we will take VTH 0.3, VOB 0.1, and we will calculate V in that input common range for cascade stage. Okay, so let me write here only. I will use one more slide. There will write new slide. Okay. Okay. So for the cascode, I am doing V in maximum. So V in maximum will be what? VDD minus VSG7 minus VSG5 minus VOV3 minus VTH1. Okay. VDD, I am doing VDD minus VSG, this one minus this one, overdrive of this one, and then this threshold voltage. So V in maximum is this one. So let me put the values also at the same time. VDD was 1 volt, VSG was coming 0.3 plus 0.7 minus 0.3 plus 0.7 minus VOV3 is 0.3 minus, sorry, this is plus VTH, right? Plus, because this is NMOS, so 0.7. So we are getting how much voltage here? 1, 2, how much we are getting here? 2.3. We are getting here 0.7 volt. Sorry, what I am doing? 1 minute. Sorry. Let me erase the value I have written wrongly. So VDD was my given as VDD was here how much? VTH point and VOB 0.1 and VDD 1. So my given parameters are your VDD 1 volt, VOB is 0.1 volt, and your VTH is VTH is 0.3 volt. VTH is 0.3 volt. Now substitute all the value. VDD is 1 and it will be 0.3 plus 0.1 minus 0.3 plus 0.1 minus it is VOB is 0.1 and plus 0.3. So what you will get here, 1 minus 0.4, right? 0.4 minus 0.4 minus 0.1 plus 0.3. So 0.4, how much it came? 0.8, 0.9. So 0.1, that is 0.4 volt here you will get. And what will be V in minimum? V in minimum will be same, I think. V in minimum will be your this V in minimum will be your VGS of this one and VOB of this one. Okay. So VGS of 1 plus VOB across ISS. So VGS1, how much it will be? VGS will be equals to VDS plus VTH. So it is 0.3 plus 0.1 and your VOB is again 0.1. It is coming 0.5 volt. So if I want to calculate input common mode range, V in CM range, so how much it will be coming? Oh my god, it is coming minus 0.9. Correct. VDS 0.1. My minus sign is coming here. I put substituted correctly. 0.3. Okay, somewhere something will be there. So we are getting here approx how much? 0.5 volt. So uh, near about point 1 or some sign mistake will be, so point 1 or let's say point 2 something near about will be there, the common mode range. So what we see here, if we are designing with the same specification, same supply, same technology, if we are doing unity gain buffer with a single stage, we are getting a point 0.4 volt tracking, but with the cascode we are getting only point 0.1 volt tracking. Okay, point 0.1. This means if my graph will be like this, so how the output will be somewhat little bit like this and it will tilt. So it is not good choice for designing a your this unity gain buffer. Okay, so this gives the idea that when we are designing, suppose our target is to design a voltage amplifier. Okay, and somebody designed with single stage, he said this is the thing, and another will say why you have designed like this, you improve the gain, and so this is the voltage amplifier, sorry, voltage follower. So high gain doesn't mean if you are just stacking the transistor and connecting output back to the input and it created a voltage buffer. So example A you have seen here, if I am using cascode as a voltage buffer, this is not actually a voltage buffer, just a very small swing is there, just a very limited tracking is there. So this is not good choice, but for the other applications maybe the cascode is much better than the single stage. Okay, so these all depends based on the applications. So before designing amplifier, we always take what is the requirement of the consumer, what does it need. If my, if in an IC a buffer is being used, then I will try to go for a single stage. If in an IC amplification is the target, then I will use cascade stage. If in an IC my swing is very important, then I will go for folded cascade stage, which you have seen earlier. Okay, that reduces the overdrive voltage. So based on the requirements we choose the type of amplifiers. Okay, so this amplifier is not suitable for voltage buffer, but it is suitable for other applications. However, this can be, if we want to use cascode as a voltage buffer, then there are other ways, like one of the ways you're using the voltage cascode. So these things we'll see in the next class. Right now we'll stop here, or any doubt in this you can post in the comment or you can ask. Okay, so any doubt regarding this? Or I asked regarding the